So this is Beewald. He's at 2656, 2637, all platinum game. Cool. Rein, Winston left. And he did some editing to fast forward through everything. Okay. Looks like he has different colors on.
For energy. Okay, get out.
Yep.
Number behind. Get.
Okay, that may really help you guys.
Still hacked. Okay, I'm not hacked. Watch out for the soldier on the left. Just one right over there. Oh,
Good.
This
is all good. So whenever that happens, this is pretty fundamental knowledge. If someone gets past you in flanks, as a main tank, not your issue. Your job is to hold the line for the rest of the team. You have to have faith that your team can send someone out to deal with them, because as you fall back, you guys lost the choke point.
Nice.
It looks like this is still going okay for you, but understand at a higher SR, it is very, very dangerous for the Reinhardt just to drop his shield, run backwards, and try to hammer the guy.
There's Ash behind.
Oh, just kidding. Also remember you can hold down both buttons and look without actually moving your shield. Start doing that, because I see you're looking around worried about the Sombra. Start using that functionality with the hero for looking around and not dropping your shield.
Okay, hold on, I'm letting shield regen for just a second.
Okay,
I almost have ult.
Yeah, I'd start shielding.
Sombra behind.
Hack. Oh, that was the biggest
stun
I've ever seen. Sombra half.
Yeah,
nice.
she saved your ass there for sure.
Don't
have to ult that. So your team,
Yeah, back it up.
you won that fight. You had no reason to ult there.
What are you doing? My bad. Well, he died.
I mean, you got a couple good shots in you. You've already got 60% ult, but still, you're not going to get 30-40% ult just given to you sometimes.
Oh shit! No. Bad finger.
I'm hacked.
Oh
my goodness. Get the Rein, Oh, watch out, Bastion. They have Bastion. Bastion.
Shield up. Oh, you're hacked.
I'm still hacked. Okay, good.
Burn him.
Alright. I have Shattered. Okay, yeah, let's back up real quick. Just back up.
Okay. And you can drop your shield for a little bit when you're bubbled, just to give your Darius some charge. Now, she will get some charge because I believe the bubble at some points
What is this strat?
will extend past the shield.
You're going around him. What do you mean?
Grab Bridget.
Bob, kill me. No, once he's gone, I can res. Oh shit. I've got grab. If you res me. But don't think I can.
Fat Shadow.
No, don't do it. Get back on point.
That was good.
Nice, huge res. Oh,
I'm stuck.
They got on point. Yes.
Getting Ash.
Okay, back. I got ult.
Get the Bridget.
Okay.
Nice.
So far, this is all good stuff. I mean, this
Kinda stuck.
is fine.
Alright, he's gonna look
Good job.
He's down.
This is where you're dead. Oh no, Zarya saved you. Get out of there.
That was my bad. I'm
Fucking
stupid.
Bastion, dude. Okay, I head Bastion now too. I'm going Diva.
That was my bad.
So far, I mean, this is all fine play for Platinum.
That's
I
dumb.
don't think we're gonna make it.
Break one.
Rein's behind. I can't do anything.
This is, yeah, just get your ult charge from that. That's about it. You're not getting out of that one.
They're gonna set Bastion on point.
See if we can anti him and then rush him.
You might want to try to go for a.
Will I be doing an
Shatter
Xmas stream? I will not. Christmas is really busy for me.
I'm down.
We're on our way back.
Shield and
Big shatter.
Dude, get him.
Got more.
There's a Rein on me in the back.
Bastion low. Oh no, he's not.
you gotta get out of there.
Good sleep. Rein behind.
You were already down
Just got him.
2 or so people, so that's a very dangerous.
Zo. Oh, what? Couldn't get him. I have shatter again.
I mean, you got shatter again. I get that, but man,
Fucking Bastion, dude. Should back it up a little and then keep down.
if you're down 2-3 people, I don't think you should be ulting there. I mean, you got a good shatter off and you were nano boosted, and it still came up short.
Do we contest? Yeah, get on.
I made it. Double shatter.
Nice shatter.
Oh, I hit a pole.
Yeah, it sucks you couldn't get the Bastion. Bastion was smart. He got off the payload. Yeah, we're gonna get that. Everyone got pushed off.
You blocked me! Fuck, dude. Yeah, we gotta back
Do I have a
up.
concrete present plan for Christmas? No, we'll see what my niece has done for me this year. They usually do something ridiculous.
That's fucking dumb, dude. Can't wait till it gets fucking broken.
Back up. Get the hell out of there. Yep.
Kill that bitch.
Oh, I missed it somehow.
Well, let's go.
Whoa. Good trying.
We're gonna get on point.
Oh, dude.
Yep. So,
Oh gosh. Wait, you can. Oh, I didn't even realize.
You gotta get on point.
Yeah, I'm trying. Pin Bridget. Pin cart. Or not pin. Shattered.
okay.
Stay on point.
I can't get the point. The Bastion just killed me. Bastion's behind cart. Try to kill him. Just try to focus everything you can on him.
You guys killed it. Okay, you killed the Bastion.
Nice.
Alright, that was fine. But when you're fighting outside the spawn and you're not winning, just back up. If they want to overextend that hard, just wait for a couple more members of your team. Don't go out there fighting alone.
Yeah, make sure not to C9.
What's going on? Why?
You gotta get the hell back. Get back. Oh, okay. So as soon as it was a 5v6, like, get the hell back.
Oh, dude, did I just go through that shield? That was weird.
Now, you guys had a good .1, so you still got a decent time. But yeah, the .2 defense was rough. That came down to just alt usage. I hate this. I do hate goats because it's alt usage is so important.
Where's the Bastion? Step 2.
There's a lot of.
Yeah, he's back.
Someone just shot at the top right.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. He's just like in the back over there. Or do they even have a Bastion? They don't have a Bastion.
Dude. They don't have Bastion?
Yeah, they don't have Bastion. There's an Ashe on the right, though. I could try to dive this Ashe.
Yeah, let's get that Ashe.
Yeah. Okay,
I need my backpack.
Get an Ashe. She's low, she's
She
low.
should be dead.
Get her. Got her.
So that's when. And maybe that's just because I'm used to teammates not communicating. But I saw your Ana shoot to the top right. I was like, oh, there's something in the top right. Like, watch out for that.
Oh wait, she's getting mercy pocketed. I'm just gonna sit here for a little while. And then fly over here.
Oh.
This Rein's doing a lot of damage. Alright, I'm getting actually pretty close to ult.
I mean, this is just all built in for both teams.
I need heals behind. Thanks. Oh, sweet, dude. Zarya's dead. Let's jump this Rein.
Come on, dude.
Get
Here
the
comes the ult.
Mercy low. Almost have ult.
Okay, that's you. You go in.
Get the Rein. He's low.
Yeah, he's one. Get that.
Yeah, I think this is going really well.
Oh, Ash low.
Stay on Ash, yeah. And she used her ult. That's great.
Let me see if I can get the focus on me.
So I think you did everything right there. I think you did. I mean, yeah, you did everything fine for plat level.
They're running Bastion again. Okay, I'm gonna or no? They're running Bastion. Okay, Shatter.
Who's that?
I'm just back here pushing the cart.
Okay, they don't have Shatter.
I mean, they got a Bastion, so you wouldn't have...
Oh, they have a Bastion again!
There it is, yeah. Now you're gonna need the rest of the team.
Now we can dive the Bastion. Alright, here we go.
You already need to be diving on the Bastion.
Watch out for the TNT.
No fucking way.
Way too late.
Ryan might have Shatter again.
I'm not sure what you were waiting for, but when your team engaged there, you needed to go in. That was the only way you're gonna be able to kill.
Watch out, here, get the Rein, Oh, Zarya? Zarya's like half. Zarya's low.
You're not gonna be able to kill anyone. You need to back up.
Okay, I'm gonna
That's a very small choke point.
Okay. Jumping. Get Bastion.
And you cannot deal with Bastion.
Woo, no!
Yep.
Oh no, that was unlucky.
She's one. Zarya one. Nice. Getting res.
Huge tire. Let's
Bastion
go.
died.
Mercy low.
I'm on my way back. Ryan's like at our spawn. He's like
I don't know that a Bastion so soon. I heard it.
He's gonna kill me. Thank you. What's he gonna do now, Ryan? Oh, he's still gonna kill me.
He will kill you, yeah.
Oh, dude! Get him!
Yeah.
I have ult. If I live.
So, I would almost say
Oh, dude, that was so
damage?
close.
Okay, let's change something.
don't get into a melee fight
I mean, that fucking Mercy was one.
with
Like, for like 10
Reinhardt.
seconds on
Um,
happen.
even if you're building up ult,
Okay, nice pick,
Winston
nice
against Reinhardt and you're getting healed, the Reinhardt's getting 8% per swing.
Here we go, ready? Where's
So if
the
he hit
Bastion?
you 6 or 7 times, I mean, he has
Okay, I'm gonna
so
dive.
much free ult from
2,
that.
1, dive. Dead.
So perfect.
Can you res me?
So yeah, I think this is good.
Getting more.
Bubble.
Get the Zarya. Zarya on point.
More low.
So that was, I like that. Winston's ult, we're getting some weird lag there. Obviously Winston ult,
Oh, I got it.
good at separating people.
Zarya.
Bubble. Put her in the Thunderdome. There you go.
Finally.
Yeah, Bastion, okay, so Bastion
Okay, I'm the only one
has the worst, how can I put it?
We don't need like
Non-mechanics in the game. Where, I mean, like, his hitbox is huge. His sound is huge. It's just like the one-off stuff that you're like, yeah, this kind of matters. Because people think about people's skill set and abilities and ult and stuff like that.
Okay, go.
Oh no, okay, I'm just doing it now because I got hog hooked.
Okay, you're keeping the Bastion.
He's all far away now. Okay, just get out of the way of the Bastion.
I'm really surprised the Bastion just doesn't go in turret form and kill you. Either he must be afraid of another person or something, but understand if you solo dive a Bastion, he should just transform and kill you.
Guys just don't step off of it.
What up, Doctor?
See you, Nanny.
So it's good you're moving together with the Diva. You're planning your dives together. This is great. I mean,
Okay, where's he this time?
the one weakness to Winston is that, you know, if you dive in, it's those couple of seconds that you dive in that it's going to suck. I think if you shut the Mercy in behind you, it would have been better.
Oh, I should have ulted. That was my bad.
This is the good and bad thing. If they're really dependent on the Bastion,
By every fucking teammate, they are so desperate, dude.
everyone's focused on the Bastion. That means if you attack the Mercy, no one's really going to help her. Everyone's so worried about healing the Bastion. Everyone's worried about him. Everyone's going to be focused on him. Enemy and allied.
Fuck!
We gotta reset.
We just gotta back up. Yep.
Yeah, we get to reset.
Are you back capping?
Bastion's down there.
Oh,
No,
dude, that
don't
almost
res,
worked.
don't res, don't res.
Okay, their Ashe is like up top.
Okay, wait for me, wait for me.
Yeah, just wait. Don't push in yet.
So you may want to get some sights on Bastion.
I'm here.
Where is he? Where is he?
Go up to your top left. He's got to be hiding on that side.
Going. He's right, he's
on
right,
the
he's
right.
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 Alright, I'm going in. I'm going in.
No, you're.
I'm ulting him.
Going, right.
Bastion's on cart now. Bastion's on cart.
What the fuck was that, dude?
Yep.
I only did about half of his health.
I think you guys lot.
Bastion more.
You did a 5v6. That's kind of what happened there. The Sombra got picked off immediately, and you guys still dove in. Probably shouldn't play Winston versus Bastion. Well,
Got her.
that's not what is asked.
Good touch.
Oh no. I can't do it.
So here's the one thing that's... I don't care what heroes you play into other heroes. What I care about is how you play. If he wanted to play Winston in the Bastion, which everyone knows is a really, really tough matchup, but it can work with the correct dive. The problem is as soon as they started playing really far back, either your Sombra needed to hack the Bastion, or the Winston D.Va needed to come from the top right. Essentially, there's too much distance to cover on that third point for dive to really get to the Bastion. Yeah, good divas are hard to come by at that low of rank. I know, I understand, but at the same time, you guys clearly understand some things about me where I'm just like, well, just because it's a bad matchup doesn't mean you can't play into it. In fact, just running away from the matchup will make you, not better at it. Like, there are probably ways to deal with the Bastion as a Winston. Some of the ways may be to ignore the Bastion. Dive someone else. If everyone's healing the Bastion, maybe it's possible to dive the Mercy. Maybe it's possible to dive the Ana. There's something else that they may have a weakness with that you can focus to. If the Bastion's far on the right side, then attack the left side. You know what I mean? There's ways you can deal with it without actually changing your hero. But in Overwatch, people run away from tough matchups. If people have an issue, they will often run away from it. Which is really funny, because the saying's like, when the going gets tough. What does that say? I want to say that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. But that doesn't make sense. That means the tough ran away. Basically, when shit's tough, just buckle down and try to figure out the matchup. Sometimes it's really tough to understand. Sometimes the answer lies outside of the matchup. The good thing about Winston's Spirit where you can jump and live. Yes, so the jump, live, bubble, play the shield game is really important with Winston. It's just that Bastion doesn't give two fucks. He's going to survive it. He's going to burst your bubble. And it's going to be really tough to play against them. That's why if you have a D.Va, or in your case you had a D.Va and a Sombra, and you could definitely deal with the Bastion at that point. Just understand that what that Bastion did at that last point is he just sentry mode and beat the shit out of you. And that's kind of what he should have been doing from the start. The problem is the difference was you had your teammates on your side there. Because it was a smaller part of the map, like you're on the streets phase, part 2. Like the Bastion, if he's here, like you can use all of this cover over here to get to him. If he's right here, you can use the cover to get around the corner. I mean, if he's in the open, then you can use, cover over here and over here. There's a lot of ways to deal with the Bastion because of the map. But on the third point, I mean, it's just a big open area. And the Bastion picked this side. And you had to jump all the way over here. So information, first of all, you could have taken the high ground on point 3 to figure out where the Bastion was at. You're a tank clash. I guess they did have a hog. I mean, you could have just peeked and found out where he's at, because that was a big piece of information you need to know. At that point, like, it's tough to say. Like, you can dive the Bastion. Your team was on the same page to dive the Bastion, but your Sombra was dead. That last fight was a 5v6. And that's tough to do. So, I mean, information, you already know this. Know the matchup. And what you can do. And sometimes, again, maybe it's not fighting him. But as you're right, I think your Reinhardt was fine. Just understand. You can look. Freely look. When holding your shield up. Be really careful when someone flanks, and this still gets Grandmasters, so don't expect to get it right away. If someone gets past the choke point on whatever map, and there's someone behind you, your team's here, and there's some baddie back here, your job is to hold the front. If you were a DPS hero playing this, then I'd be like, all right, well, what's your decision? Do you want to deal with this guy, or do you want to stay on the one on the main choke? Like, if it's a Mei or Junkrat, I'm like, all right, you probably want to stay on your main choke. If you're a Genji or Tracer, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely pressure the guy that's behind. But as a tank player, like, this is what you do. You hold the front line. Always do that. It's actually easier to hold the front line because that's like, well, it's an easier decision to hold the front line because you don't have to think about it. Now, if they get 3 or 4 people back here, then maybe you'll have a decision where it's like, all right, do I want to defend the front from the 2 that are left, or do I deal with these 4 people that somehow got around? Freely look, Reinhardt. Other than that, I think your Reinhardt was fine. Understand when a fight is won. Specifically with tanks, usually, I'm going to say just usually, it's hard to get your ult really quickly with some of the tanks. Now, don't get me wrong, there's sometimes you can build it super goddamn fast. I get it. But, like, as a DPS, as a Junkrat, sometimes it's okay to ult and to finish the fight off and just be like, look, guys, the fight's over. Fuck it. I'm killing everyone. But when you killed 3 people, and then you're like, oh, 3 people in front of me, let me just ult them. Don't. The fight's won. A 5v6 is hard enough. A 4v6 is a great challenge. A 3v6 is, I think, a lost fight almost all the time. So save your ult. Understand what the state of the game is, and just keep on going from there. I think your ability usage was fine. Yeah, I think you're doing that. Getting to where you need to, like the actual pure form of the logistics sense, I think that was fine. Most of the time you were in the correct position. Maybe you could have done a little bit more advanced scouting with the Winston pick, but for the first 2 points, the Bastion was actually really easily found. You knew where it was at. You guys dove them together. That was great. The third point is when you guys started having really big issues, which I get, because then the distance for dive is so great that if you don't dive correctly, you're going to just die, which is what you did. And that comes up with positioning. I think the positioning was fine for the most part. There's nothing in this one that I would really say that, like, oh yeah, you should have been X, Y, or Z. Also, look where allies shoot. So the deal with this is, it's funny. No one on your team said there was a Ashe to the top right when you first attacked King's Row .1. And I was like, oh, there's something up there. I saw your Ana shoot once up there, so I knew there was someone up there. Your Ana just wouldn't shoot that way for no damn reason. Everyone thought it was a Bastion, but then you hit tab and you realize it wasn't a Bastion. And at that point, you're like, oh shit, it's just got a DPS. Like, that's something you can definitely kill. So, queue off of very subtle things like that, and if you queue off them naturally, like I do, you could have reacted to that, killed that Ashe, and no one could have reacted to it. Right? If you react based on sound and gut instinct, it becomes so quick that the battlefield has to react so goddamn quick to deal with. This is something I just picked up because of my 20 years of gaming. So, understand, wherever there's action, there's usually a reason for that. And if your team's trolling you, like, fuck them. Like, that's... I don't know. It's the same thing as just lying over comms, to me. Pick up on these subtle things. Yada, 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 yada. We talk about Winston and Reinhardt. You can't really talk about accuracy. We did talk about just don't get into a melee fight. As Winston versus Reinhardt, even if you're getting healing, don't fight him, because you're going to be so close to him that he can probably get a hit off, and he's going to be building ult very quickly. If it's Winston versus Reinhardt where he was fighting at, which was your back lines, he's expecting to die. He wants to die with a lot of ult, so it's better to get your DPSers to shoot him from far away and have him put his shield up so you can damage him through that, than just trying to melee him and dealing with him yourself. Because even in my head, Reinhardt versus Winston, you do 60 DPS, he has 400 health, 100 armor. You're doing half damage for the first 100. So you're doing 30 DPS. It's going to take you 3.25 seconds to get through the armor, and at that point, 369. Yeah, it'll take you over 3 seconds to get through the armor alone. And then you have to go through 400 health at 60 DPS. It's like another goddamn, 8 seconds. It would take you 12 seconds to kill the fucker. Not counting reload. You kind of... Winston does have a little bit more range, but at the same time, the Reinhardt has 12 to 15 seconds to hit you. You have to play that perfectly for 12 seconds. You're gonna fuck up. He's just looking to build ult charge. It's just not worth it. Math-wise, not worth it. Deal with something else. Do something else. Go another way, go a different path. Just get the hell away from him. Math-wise, doesn't check out. I mean, he attacks faster than 1 a second, right? They lowered it. He was at... Is he at 0.9 attacks a second? Or is it faster than that? I forget. But if you fight him for 10 seconds, he's going to get 80% charge if he hits all his shots, right? He gets 8% a hit, 10 seconds, even at 1 a second. 80%. You don't want to give Reinhardt a free 80% ult. It's a recipe for disaster. Yeah, I think he could actually build his ult and then ult you and your team before you could kill him as a Winston. Damage is slow. Winston's damage, if no one knew, it's 60 DPS, but it's 3 damage per tick, 20 ticks per second. I believe this is his damage calculation. Since it's below 5 damage, it gets cut in half. Against armor. Do you have any questions? I know you're in chat, and I know you've been waiting for this for a while. I think your Reinhardt was better than your Winston. You were playing Winston into a incredibly tough matchup, which is Bastion being pocketed. And remember, I don't know if this was pre or post patch. I think it was pre-patch where Bastion got a bit of a buff. In which case, Bastion's probably going to tear you apart a little bit faster. So just know the matchup. Understand that you've got to... If you dive, everyone has to dive the Bastion and kill him. You need the Sombra up, you need the D.Va up. Winston's big deal is as he's jumping in, he needs the D.Va to absorb the damage so he can land safely, put up a bubble, and then start doing damage. It's really hard to play Winston without a D.Va. He still works, don't get me wrong, you just have to pick your fights really, really well. Also, don't stick in a fight that you can't win. It's alright to jump away, especially as a Winston. There is no shame in realizing either they're getting too much healing for you to finish them off. We haven't done it in a long time, but like, there's the how to catch a monkey, and it's funny because we're talking about Winston. But there's like an actual, we can actually do it. We haven't done this in a while, but this is one of my favorite, favorite fucking things. Well, there is no higher quality. We're busting out the 240p, guys. So the whole thing about catching a monkey, it's really funny. So there's these tribes in Africa, and they will, I'll just paraphrase this really quickly. Essentially, they show the monkey in the tree that they have food. And then they take the food, and they shove it in a hole. Like, they'll just be like, look, here's a hole. And this is what they do. So here's the hole. And there's this tiny, tiny way to get into the hole. And so they literally show the food to the monkey and then shove it in the hole. And then I always joke around, I'm like, look at this guy. This is like total Skyrim. He crouches, all of a sudden he's invisible, and the monkey's like, alright, there's food in that hole. So what does the monkey do? He goes in, and they have a nice little, like, here's his hand, he grabs it, and his fist is too big to go through the hole, right? But his mind is so preoccupied with the food that he doesn't realize it's his own tension screwing him over. See, look, this guy's, he's just gonna put a rope around him and bam, he catches him. The monkey is so preoccupied with the fact that he has food in his hand that he can't understand to release it to actually get out. If you do not think human beings do this, they do. I mean, if anyone's older here, I could just be like, have you ever put a lot into a relationship and you put even more into it because you already put some into it? And you're just like, you just wouldn't cut your losses? And a lot of people are like that. Some people are like that with money. It's your own tension that's screwing yourself over, and you have to release it to just get rid of it all. As a martial artist, understand that I use tension to my utmost advantage, and that is how you can knock out people very easily. A lot of Wing Chun is based on the enemy having tension in their body. In fact, all of Tai Chi theory is basically around, like, either them having tension in their body or you creating tension in their body for you to take advantage of it. So same thing as Winston, like, if you're diving in, do not, at no point are you like, oh, I almost got this kill. I have to get this kill. I did 600 damage, or I did like 180 damage to him. I can just get him, and he starts getting healed, and you're like, cut your losses, get the fuck out. Well, now the only thing I have to say is my reason for turning around Sombra, because I was hacked anyway, so I'm pretty much useless as Rein. I was trying to get the Sombra. Now I know that's wrong because you need to be at the choke when the hack wears off. That too, but also, if you just turn around and fight the Sombra, like, you still need you can still use the terrain on the map to your advantage. You can still hide behind cover. You can still dodge shots. If you literally turn your back to the combat, you're going to get shot very easily. There's still information for you to be gathering. Remember, information is the base. It's so important. Don't just turn around and go for it. Also, if you're just looking like, if you're really screwed, you get hacked and everyone jumps on you, at least get one hammer at them. Like, jump into them, hammer them, and hit like 4 or 5 people. Get your goddamn 30-40% ult, and then die. Because killing a Sombra is not easy. You may hit her once, and if you hit her at the same time as another hero, you know, headshots her or something, maybe she get the kill. Yeah, express how happy you are. Did for me. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Just chatting thoughts. See if I can climb up in SR and send you another VOD. Yeah, I think your Reinhardt's, at least in this video, was solid. I like very few flaws. You're doing really good as a Reinhardt. Of course, as you go higher and higher, there's a lot of mind games you play with the enemy Reinhardt and stuff like that. But, what SR are you at? At this SR, don't worry. Doctor, you're out of your art. Peace. Don't worry. Everyone's going to talk about tips and tricks and how to play specifically against other heroes. At 2600, that is the least of your fucking concern. You just need game sense, just very basic FPS concepts. That's what you have to work on.